Hi everyone, it's Helen here. Welcome to our Flip Collaborate for Assignment 3, which is our folio. So I'm going to be taking you through a bit of an overview in regards to this during this Flip Collaborate session. So I'm going to look at the assignment overview, the rubric expectations, just give you a brief overview of the learning plans, talk about referencing, and then just give you a brief overview of some other information. So assignment 3 in this unit is a little bit notorious, unfortunately, for students not to pass. I don't want to scare you by saying that, but I just wanted to alert you to that fact that oftentimes week 12 does creep up on us and things happen and students don't read the rubric and they don't leave enough time and they don't put in their best effort for this assignment. So I'd really encourage you to get onto it now because assignment 2 has finished, and this is quite a big assignment because it is worth 40%. So I'd really encourage you to get onto that now. And if we do have a look at our assignment overview, we're going to be able to demonstrate the key concepts in regards to language and literacy in Australian education context, particularly in regards to visual literacy and the role of ICT in language and literacy development. We're going to be able to display communication skills, and you're also going to be able to identify the implications of culture and home languages for learning and teaching. So if we have a look at our rubric requirements, it is a holistic rubric, which we've had on our last 2 assignments. So like those 2 assignments, you need to fulfill the requirements in one grade level before you go up to the next. So that means you need to be passing all of the descriptors in the pass before you move up to the credit and so forth. So if we have a look at our pass descriptor, and I've highlighted in red some of those really key words that you need to be looking at. In particular, I want to draw your attention to the focus concepts have been identified and described in each of the learning plans. Now, I can't stress this enough because this is one area where many students have fallen down, and we're going to go into more depth in regards to this in the collaborate session, in the live collaborate session, but I just wanted to draw your attention to ensure that you are doing that in each of your lesson plans, okay? And make sure that you are doing 3 separate lesson plans. One is for visual literacy, one relating to ICT, and one relating to EAL. So just make sure that you're doing that, and you're also aligning them with the correct curriculum. So that's either the EYLF or the Australian curriculum. So this is a great opportunity for those primary students to have a look at the Australian curriculum and to have a go at using it. And we're also going to be doing our APA referencing. And as you moved up, you can see that little things are added. So our credit, we're going to be looking at meaningful lesson plans. Things that aren't just tokenistic. We're going to be looking for readings and additional literature, and we're making sure that we've got that strength-based approach. And again, as we move up to the distinction descriptor, we're going to be looking for each learning activity plan is concise and it's well integrated, it's proofread well, professionally presented, and citations are prevalent. And then we've got our high distinction where you really showcase creativity and originality, critical reading, and there's been a lot of engagement with literature. So I'd really encourage you to have a look at these. These are really important, and to have them as your checklist as you are completing your assignment. So if we have a quick look at our learning plans, like I mentioned before, there are 3 learning plans. And your targeted reader for the folios are teachers at an early childhood centre or primary school. So imagining that you are sharing your ideas or resources with your peers, okay? And make sure that you are still including those APA in-text citations and your corresponding reference list. There's a lot of information here. I'm not going to go through it all, but I am going to say that you need to include an introduction. So this is our time where we do a little bit of a brief activity that tunes your students into a main activity. Then you're going to do your body, and then you are ensuring that you are selecting an appropriate resource that is going to support children's oral language development in the Australian context. And then, of course, your conclusion. Inclusion is really important as it sums up the key concepts that have been discussed in your lesson plan, and it's a recap of what's happened. So just ensure that you're not doing those things like hand washing or going out for recess. We're really wanting to see a nice tight conclusion which links back into our body. Now, as with assignment 1, you can use bullet points and images, and in fact we would encourage this because it's a really great way to set out your lesson plans. So if we have a look at lesson plan 1, so our learning plan 1, sorry, this is going to be for teaching and learning visual literacy, and you can either choose infants or toddlers, so under the age of 3, or you can choose preschoolers from 3 to 5 years. So this means that you'll be using the EYLF for this learning plan. So if we have a look at visual literacy, and this is what I really want to draw your attention to in regards to describing what visual literacy is, and it's the ability to interpret and communicate with respect to visual symbols in media other than print. So if you have a look at our little example over there, this is one of my favourite books, which is Fidgety Fish. What do you think Fidgety Fish is telling his mum? Why is Fidgety Fish happy? And how does his mum feel about this? So there are some of those really important questions that you can be looking at and you can be asking when you're looking at visual literacy. There's a lot of information out there in regards to that, so I'd really encourage you to have a look and to choose some really fantastic resources in regards to teaching visual literacy. Remembering again that you must put in that description of visual literacy, which is really important. So if we have a look at our learning plan 2, so this is in regards to teaching a language or literacy using ICT. I really want to highlight that it is about teaching language and literacy using ICT. Okay, so it's not just about using a computer or using any such app. You need to be showing that you are teaching language or literacy using the ICT. And for this lesson plan, you can either do it for preschoolers, so 3 to 5 years old, so that would be your EYLF curriculum, or you can have a go at doing junior years primary age from 5 to 8, and that's where you would be using your Australian curriculum. So that's a great opportunity to do that. Remember, it's only one of those age groups. You don't need to be doing 2. And if we have a look, here's our description of what ICT refers to. It refers to information and communication technology. In the 21st century, ICT is playing a really important role, and I know in the classroom there's a lot of ICT use, and it's a great tool to be able to teach language and literacy learning. So there's a lot of information in here as well, and I've just given you a little bit of information there in regards to an app called Puppet Pals. This is a fantastic app that the students could be using. So I'm sure there's lots of other apps out there as well, or lots of other programs. So this is a really good opportunity for you to be able to showcase them. Remember, you are showing how the ICT is supporting language or literacy development. Okay, so that's really important to show how that is, not just showing what the ICT tool is, but what it does, or how does it help teach language and literacy learning. And of course, our final one, which my slide is kind of cut off there, but that's okay. It's for teaching and learning language and literacy in the contents of English as an additional language, so EAL students. Okay, so remembering that your task is to support the children to learn EIL while valuing, respecting and acknowledging the influence of children's home language and culture. And you need to be specifying your age group. And again, it's either 3 to 5 year olds, so preschoolers, or junior primary school age students. So these are our older students where you would be having a look at the Australian curriculum. This is another really important slide in regards to your description. So there it is there. It gives you a great description in regards to EAL learners. And there's a fantastic resource in the Australian curriculum in regards to these learners. So if you had a look at that, there is some fantastic information in regards to EAL learners and how we can support them in our classrooms. And I've given you an example here. A fantastic example is reading a variety of books that expose children to different cultures. And there's a couple of there, Whoever You Are or How the Kangaroos Got Their Tails. Both of these are fantastic ways to be able to teach EAL students. So there's lots of information out there, and we're going to be going through more of that during the Collaborate sessions. So if you're looking at our connections to curriculum, we need to remember that we're looking at two types of curriculum. So we're either looking at the EYLF, so this is the students from birth to 5 years old. So if you're choosing that age group for your learning plan, then this is the curriculum that you need to be using. So remember, we're looking at our learning outcomes and we're linking those up to our learning plans. Now, if you are deciding to choose the foundation to year 2, then you are going to be looking at the Australian curriculum. So there are 3 different areas that you can be looking at: language, literacy and literature. And there's some information in regards to navigating the Australian curriculum in the Padlet, so make sure you check that out, because it can be a little bit hard to navigate, but once you get the hang of it, you should be able to find out how to do it. And of course, just before I go on to referencing, that you will be using the content descriptors in regards to the Australian curriculum, and we'll be going through that a little bit more in the live Collaborate sessions. So in our referencing, we need to make sure that you are using your in-text citations and you're using your APA referencing, that your format and structure is correct with your spelling, your grammar and your expression, and you've got professional language there, and you've got a reference list. Now your reference list, there's only one reference list for all of your lesson plans. So you've got 3 lesson plans, but you're only doing 1 reference list, and this will be at the end of your 3rd lesson. So just ensure that it's on a separate page and it's at the end of those 3 lessons. Okay, just some other information I wanted to touch on. Now remember, you're submitting this via Canvas, and you're going to prepare it in one Microsoft Word document. So you're going to use the learning plan templates provided and submit your assessment as one document. We do not want to see 3 different learning plans. We want to see one document. And the other thing I need to also say is that we will and cannot, we can't accept pages. A couple of students have been submitting via pages. We're not able to read these documents, and we will be emailing you in regards to this. So make sure you are using Microsoft Word. Make sure you have read the documents in this assignments in the assignments thread on the discussion board in final preparation for your submission, and just make sure that you're having a look and on board in regards to what the criteria is for this this assignment and the submission. It's really important. And remember, it's probably a really good idea to change it into a PDF if you can, because that way pictures and photos don't move around. So if you're able to submit as a PDF, if you've got lots of pictures, then that would be a really great thing to do. So just keep that in mind when you are going through and submitting. And we understand if things do move around a bit, that's fine, and you're not going to lose marks for that. Now, this is our final assignment, so I do need to talk a little bit about extensions here. They really need to be avoided, okay, because this is our last assignment, and if you have a long extension or just ask for more than 7 days, and that means that your results will most probably be delayed. So I'd really encourage you to get organised. because this is what we as pre-service teachers really need to be getting onto. We understand that things do happen, but if for any I'm going to be quite strict when it comes to assignment extensions for this assignment, because they really need to be avoided, and I just don't think I can stress that enough. So just make sure you're organised and onto it, and you should be fine. Now, our live collaborate session, we're going to be having a look at assignment 3 in detail, and we're going to answer any questions you may have. Just on a side note, remember that there is no oral presentation for this assignment. So there's no oral presentation, so it's just your 3 lesson plans. So we can't wait to see you at the collaborate sessions, and we'll also see you on the discussion boards. Remember to keep engaged as much as you can in the final weeks of this unit so that you can do really well on this assignment. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you on the boards. Bye for now.